Hello, beautiful people, and thank you so much for tuning into my channel. My name is Jennifer Diamond, and I live a whole food, plant exclusive, sopas-free, gluten-free lifestyle for wellness and good health. Now, I decided to make these this time because I'm going to be going away for the weekend, and I am going to be driving to California for a few days. And I want to make sure that I'm prepped with food. I want lots of options. So one of the things that I'm doing is making sure that I have a few wraps for the ride. This one is called the Green Goddess Wrap. And I'm going to show how to make the wrap and all of the different fillings for it. It's one that I haven't tried yet, but it sounds really amazing. So I've already prepped everything. So I'm just going to start to pull stuff over and we'll get going. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is we're going to put a bunch of stuff in a high-speed blender. I happen to have a Vitamix, but any high-speed blender will work. And so she wants us to go ahead and add in some spinach. Now, I'm not going to be sharing measurements here because this is not my recipe. But if you are interested in it, I will link below to Raw Food Romance, and you can download her ebook for purchase. I'm not affiliated at all. I just love these wraps. And she has a lot of other wonderful things. I pre-measured everything. And so I'm adding in some spinach. And then I am going to put in some, we have in here zucchini, celery, and I have, the recipe calls for jalapenos, but I have serrano peppers from our serrano pepper plant that we grow in the yard. And when it gets over full with so many, we put them in the freezer. So I took these actually out of the freezer, cut them and de-seeded them. And I'm going to put all of that in here as well. In here, we have onion powder, hemp seeds, and fresh garlic. Then I have some lime juice. This is a kaffir lime from our lime tree. It's a little bit different of a lime flavor. It's just a different, just a different flavor. And so I measured that. I'm going to put that in there. But I'll give you a quick, if you haven't seen these before, they're a little bit different on the skin. This is the lime, and they're used a lot in Asian cuisine. You can also use the leaves to cook with, and I haven't done that yet, but I'd like to. So it's very bumpy texture, which you could still, use the skin, and they're very juicy. So when I open them and squeeze them, I mean, there is a ton of lime juice in here. So we're putting that in instead of the standard lime this time. And then what else do we have? And then we basically have some measured out water, and and some dates. And one thing that she does with her recipes is she doesn't just measure like a cup of this or a tablespoon of that. She actually has you weigh, and here's my scale, and she has you weigh. She's got ounces or grams. I've been doing it with grams, and just to make sure, because some of the fresh fruits and vegetables that we use to make these, they don't weigh the same. They're different sizes. So if she says, one zucchini or one carrot or one cucumber, right? They're going to be different sizes. So yes, you may have one, but you also want to verify it with the scale to make sure that it is actually the right weight, and so that the wrap comes out correctly. So I'm going to go ahead now and put my lid on and give this a whirl. Okay, so I think that looks really good. A beautiful green color. And wow, look at that. You see that? Now I'm going to go ahead and scrape down a little bit of the spinach that didn't get blended up and just give it one more quick, pulse. And then we're going to add a couple more things. All right, let's give it one more whirl here. Okay, and then what she says is after you have this all blended up and this beautiful green color, then we're going to add, wow, I got to show you this. Look at this. Beautiful. Nice, thick green color. Okay, we're going to add to that these two last things. And what we have here is already ground flaxseed and psyllium husk. And she likes us to add it at the end because she doesn't want us to blend it, over blend it. And then we're just going to pulse it just a little bit. And I've got all these dishes here that I'm going to put aside. And we're going to do a little quick little pulse. And maybe one more. What do you say? Go. Awesome. You know what? That's it. Now we just have to spread them out on the sheets and get them in the dehydrator. And it's that simple. And I had to order these sheets just for this particular, wrap, because they have a lip. And Lissa from Raw Food Romance had told me, or anyone in her ebook that bought her hand wrap salad. It's called hand salad wraps, to get these, because if you use anything else, like I have these other kind of Silpat sheets that go on here that we'll see in a little bit. If you use those, there's no lip and it'll just run off. So the only thing I need to get still is this little guy. And this is a great spatula. I really like it. I thought that I could use my regular spatula or something like this, but you know what? It just wasn't as good as this one. And this is by Wilson. I'll link it in the show notes in case you're interested. And here we go. So I'm just going to go ahead and pour approximately half and half. Now, I've thought about, is there a way to measure these so that I don't, have one that's bigger than the other? And yes, there probably is a way. Wow, this is super thick, much thicker than I'm used to. I wonder, but is there a way to measure it? And the only way that I could think of measuring it is if I were to actually pour it into a bowl and use the scale and weigh each one. And I just have never done that. I just have never put the time into doing that, because it's an extra, extra dishes, extra time. And I guess I'm being a little lazy and I just kind of want to get it into the dehydrator because it is going to be in the dehydrator for many, many hours. I'll have to read this one, but I think like 12 to 24 hours. So I'm going to just go ahead and finish scraping this out, and then we'll spread them out together. All right. So now we're going to go ahead and just spread it out. And this part is really fun because it can be very therapeutic and kind of reminds me of like art when I was a kid. And who doesn't like art? But another reason that these sheets are really great is because it measures it, right? So it won't go over. And these are so thick. But some of them have been a lot thinner. This is the thickest one I've ever made. So hopefully it'll come out. But it keeps it kind of measured the same amount all the way around the tray. And so you don't have like thick pockets and then thinner areas. And just going to kind of just take our time. And what will happen is this will dehydrate. And at the end of it, you will have this beautiful wrap, like a lavash bread or like a pita, not pita, but like a tortilla, like a bread. And it's not bread at all. And then we're gonna fill it with all kinds of goodies and roll it up. And that's why they call it a hand salad. All right, let's spread this guy out. And so each recipe makes 2 wraps. And so if you want more than that, you obviously would double it or triple it. For the trip, I decided that if I have enough time, I would like to maybe do 2 different kinds. But if not, this one's gonna be great. So this is looking pretty darn good as well. I'm pretty happy with this. And so I'm gonna go ahead and place this one in the dehydrator. Okay, one other thing. You want to set the dehydrator to 115 degrees Fahrenheit or under to be considered a raw food. Anything over 115 degrees Fahrenheit isn't considered raw. And the more you cook something, the more the nutrients and vitamins, I guess, get depleted a little bit. And so for somebody who's living a raw lifestyle, it's important for them. But we're following that instruction because I want these wraps to come out the way that she has them. And then it says to cook for about 12 hours. And for this particular wrap, we are not going to flip them. A lot of times when I'm doing different things in the dehydrator, halfway through, I'll flip them over so that they dehydrate evenly, but this one, you don't do that. I could halfway through or before I go to bed, I could rotate the tray in the dehydrator and that would be fine too. But I just wanted to let you know, so I'll be right back. So going back to the goddess pate, which is a spread, I guess, that we're going to be using when those are done. We're going to go ahead and add some peas. These are raw peas, English peas that I got at our local grocery store called Trader Joe's. You could use frozen ones, but I decided to try these. My friend Janet from Plant Powered Peddler, she found these and told me about them, and I went to our store to see if we had them, and we did. And I was going to pour them in here, but actually, I think that I will pour them in this way so we don't get anything bouncing or going crazy. All right, so we have that. Then we're going to also add some chopped broccoli I have. There's some celery, dates, some fresh basil, and some garlic. So we're going to go ahead and pour all of that into our food processor. Walnuts and some psyllium husk. Now, this is psyllium husk powder. It promotes digestion. It is one of the things that we used when we made the wraps. It was something that Lissa had exposed me to, but I had heard of it in the past. I just had never used it before, and I'll link below. And this just helps keep everything moving, but she adds it in, so I'm adding it in. There are some suggestions on the back of this bag that tell you like what you can mix it in, but I've just only used it with her recipes. Some miso paste. So I have 2 different types of miso paste. This one is a soy-free miso paste, and it's a chickpea miso master organic premium soy-free miso. It's made from organic miso certified chickpeas. And so I'm just going to go ahead and see how much of this do I want. Just a decent scoop of this. And I'm going to go ahead and just scrape that off. Okay. And then we have a couple other things. We're going to add some oregano. And I'm just going to go ahead and pour some oregano in here. And this particular oregano is in this bottle that I used to have from Rancho Gordo, but it ran out. And then I had some fresh oregano and it was going to go bad and I wasn't going to use it. So I stuck it in the dehydrator. Bam, dehydrated oregano for when I'm ready. So that's really cool. I get excited about simple pleasures like that. It calls for some rosemary. I'm out of rosemary, so I'm going to skip it. I'm not going to worry about it. And it wants black pepper. I don't have black pepper currently. I have pink peppercorns that I'm using up. So I'm just gonna go ahead and eye some of that and not worry about it. And then there is an optional of nutritional yeast. And I'm gonna go ahead and add the nutritional yeast. So I'm just gonna add maybe, I'm kind of making my own measurement here. Just a little bit. And I always like to get every crumlet that I can. And that's it. So I also want to say that when I use this, I try to make sure that everything is in place. The blade, the food, the lid, this insert, all before I plug it in. Because these blades can be very sharp. So it's plugged in now, and I'm going to turn it on, and I'm going to go ahead and start. And I'm going to go ahead and use one of these Excalibur Paraflex Ultra Sheets. And I'm going to turn this off, and I'm going to unplug it. And I'm going to go ahead and take this off. And they're saying to use a ice cream scooper. So what I normally do is, at this point, I'll take the blade out. And just, if there's anything on the blade, I'll scrape it off. And I set the blade aside and wash that, hand wash it and put it away, because I really try to be extra careful about anybody having any kind of accidents or injuries. And I noticed that it didn't totally blend at the very bottom. There's just a little tiny bit. So I'm just gonna also add an additional, just move it around a little bit. And that's good. That seems to be good. Let me grab the ice cream scoop because it's calling for a scoop. I'm not sure that I'm going to use an ice cream scoop. I have melon ball scoopers. Let me see. Let me try one of each and see how this goes. So they're saying to make kind of little portions with a spoon or an ice cream scooper, and kind of put it on here. And then just let it dehydrate for a couple of hours only. So this will be ready, and I'm not going to actually be eating this for a couple of days. I need it to be ready for travel. So, if you can't do it the way that the instructions tell you, and you want to do all the insides ahead of time, I have been doing it that way, and I haven't had any problems. Down to the last drop. I like to get every drop, as you probably know by now. And so there we go. That looks beautiful. All right, so we have the goddess Paté. I'm going to go ahead and put this in. Okay, so here we are. We're going to move on to another item that she has that will go into the wraps. And this is called I just had it a second ago, the goddess sauce. And it basically wants us to blend all the ingredients in the Vitamix and then set it aside. So what we have in this is, we're going to use half of an avocado. I usually, if I'm going to use half, I like to use the half without the pit in it, and then store this one. And I literally store it like this, just sitting in the refrigerator. I don't put plastic on it. I don't put lemon on it. I don't do anything. And so I just kind of put some pressure along the skin so that I'm really getting close to the skin and I don't waste anything. And I just kind of move it around to loosen it. And you can see that I got pretty good. This is completely empty. And so I'm going to go ahead and add that in. We're going to do some lime juice. And I don't have the lime juice ready. So I'm going to go ahead and, oh, wait a minute. I do have the lime juice. Okay. It was hiding. It was hiding under this beautiful piece of nori. We'll talk about that in a minute. So here is the lime juice. I thought I was like so prepared. I forgot how prepared I was. Okay, and then this I do need to measure. This is some apple cider vinegar. Okay, that guy's in. And then we're going to, okay, so we're going to add what's in this bowl, which is cucumber, some parsley, fresh parsley. I have some chopped dill, which is hiding over here, dill. And we have some chives. These are actually garlic chives I grow in a pot in my yard. So I just took them and then there's also a clove of garlic hiding in here somewhere. So we're gonna put all of that in there. Ooh, I can smell the dill. Amazing. I love dill. We're going to also add some seasonings, and I have them pre-measured. I normally don't like to pre-measure, but it just worked out today, so I'm trying anyway. And it's tarragon mustard powder, pink pepper, which I'm going to add, and cayenne. So the only thing I didn't put in was the pink peppercorns, and I'm going to just go ahead and twist those guys in here a little bit. And a nori sheet. This is a half of a nori sheet. Nori sheets, if you're not familiar with, are seaweed paper. And it's a way of getting your iodine. So way back in the day, they used to put iodine in table salt because all of society was eating and ingesting table salt. But you don't need that. You can just use the nori sheets. And this is what they wrap sushi in. And I make veggie sushi all the time. You can crumble this on a salad, but for today, we're gonna go ahead and just tear it and add it in there, and some water. This is done. Let's move it, set it aside. Woo, look at the colors on here. Let me get my spatula. I'm gonna rinse this off real quickly. Let me just scooch all this down, and let's see. I'd like to show you this beautiful color. Isn't that pretty? And it's pretty nice sauce. So I would like to taste it. What do you say? Should we taste it? Wow, okay. That has a lot of flavors. The lime. It's my Kafer lime. It's very strong. Very good, though. I think this is going to be great. There's some subtle flavors. I do taste the dill and parsley. I like it. All right. So that is done. I'm not sure if I have a container right this second, but let's see. I'll go ahead and store it in this for now, and then I can show you how I'm going to store it in hopes that it will not turn ugly. So this is really pretty, and it is a little bit liquidy because I think the cucumber, let's see if I can. Nice, huh? And what I would do, or what I'm going to do, and what I do for guacamole or things with avocado, other than storing it, because I don't want plastic on my food, but in this case, I guess there's an exception to every rule, right? I place it over and then I just gently work my way into it so that the saran wrap is actually touching the top of the liquid or the guacamole, in this case, our goddess sauce. And I try to get all the air pockets out of it. Let me just make sure that's out of our way. And it might still turn a tiny bit brown, but for the most part, keeping the air out of it really helps. And I know people put lemon and lime and different things that work also, but I already have lime in it. So this is just my second way that I do it. And so you could see that it's just up to the lid. It's like all the way around the best that I could. And then I will just put the lid on top. I'll just put these ends inside, snap the lid on, and put this in the refrigerator. And then when I take it out, I will only pull back a little bit and scoop out what I need. And if I'm going to use the whole thing, I stir it and it's fine. Or if there is any brown, you could gently scrape a little bit of the top off if you're concerned about color. But for the most part, it should be great. And so I'm just going to go ahead and set it aside for now. Okay, and that is pretty much the end of the goddess sauce. Okay, here we are. We're going to do the last prep for her recipe for the green goddess wrap. And this is just massaged kale. And so I already have washed, dried, and torn kale. I personally would like to cut it up a little bit more. So I'm going to just move it onto this cutting board and give it a quick chop. And I am going to add some lemon juice. I don't have any fresh lemon right now, so I'm just going to use this is pure lemon juice by Santa Cruz. It's organic, non-GMO, and it's not from concentrate. It's just lemon juice. I'm going to just pour a little bit of the lemon juice on the kale, and asking for some miso paste. So I'm going to try it. I always try to follow the instructions on a new recipe exactly at first. And then I decide, oh, is this too sweet? Is it too salty? Is it too this or that? And I make any adjustments going forward to meet my needs. And that's something that you can do. So don't be afraid to, not follow it perfectly. I like to follow it perfectly the first time because I want to see how it's really supposed to taste. And if I did it correctly, this is how it's supposed to taste. And then I can go from there. Just going to do a little bit. I'm going to do a lot less than what they're calling for, but that's okay. And what else? A clove of garlic is in here already. There is one more thing, which is onion powder. So I'm going to put in some onion powder and let's see. Okay, I'll put in some onion powder. These little measuring spoons that I'm using today are not the normal ones that I use. They're ones that a friend gave me, and they all have a J for Jennifer, which is really cute. So I use them sometimes, but my other ones have more measurements, but these are cute and fun. So just thought I would share that. All right. And so for this, I usually take off any jewelry or any rings that I have. Sometimes I'll even wear gloves. And literally, this is how you do it. You just massage the kale and mix it all up. Massaging the kale does a few things. First of all, it'll blend these seasonings and things that she wanted us to put in and allow for the absorption of the lemon juice. But by massaging kale, it breaks down the cellular wall. And I may have explained this before in another video, but it helps kind of start the digestive process, quickly or sooner than if you just ate it kind of really crunchy and coarse from getting it at the store. And some people don't like that, especially if you're new at this. Some people are like, oh my gosh, that's so green. That's too green. I hear that a lot. And this helps it. This helps break it down. I've been eating kale. I don't mind it either way, but when I do spend the time to massage kale, I do actually really enjoy the way that it feels as I'm chewing it in my mouth. So, and if you do it long enough and it's like just kale, sometimes you will actually have water at the bottom of the bowl because you're massaging and breaking down. I mean, this is a plant, so there is water in it, a liquid in it. So I think this is pretty much mixed. And now I have all my fillings ready, and I'll just store this in a smaller container with a lid, and then I will be ready. So I hope you enjoyed learning about something new that you could try that is wonderful and delicious and nutritious. And if you haven't subscribed to my channel, please consider hitting the subscribe button, hit the little notification bell, and you'll be notified when I post new videos. And if you like this video, please hit the like button, share it. Let's spread the word. Our health is our wealth. Take care, everyone.